everybody, it's Katie from Ray & Company Face Painting and Body Art. Thank you for checking out Ray & Co Insiders. And in this video, we are going to be doing a basic tutorial for beginners for doing an on-the-job shark. So let me get started with the supplies that you're going to be needing and that I'll be using today. So for my basic tutorials, I try to limit myself to a minimum number of supplies. So today I'm going to be using a tag regular white and a tag regular black for my line work. And then I will be using the Silly Farm Classic Brush Collection for all of these sort of basic tutorials. If you're just getting started, these are tutorials that are good for, if, like I said, if you're just getting started or if you're volunteering for an event and you kind of want to take up face painting as a hobby, or if you're doing professional face painting, but you're doing more like contract work where you have free to the public events and long lines. So designs that need to be speedy. So the Silly Farm Classic Brush Collection here runs between $25 and $30 depending on where you get it. And it comes with a 3/4 inch flat brush, a nice filbert brush that they call the Big Drop brush. It comes with one that they call the Pretty Petal brush, which creates nice, well, pretty petals. So it creates pretty flower petals. And then it'll come with 3 round brushes, a number 4, a number 3, and a number 1. So sharks can be a little bit tricky because you got to use your white and your black paint. And by the way, we will be using, I'm limiting myself today to a 12 color palette. So a typical 12 color palette will include the white and the black in there. And then usually like a red and a pink, a yellow and orange, purple, 2 blues, 2 greens, and a brown. So if you want to get a hold of this guide, how to build your first face painting starter kit, you can head over to my website, rayfaceart.com/learn, and grab that over there. Otherwise, depending on where you're watching from, you can check the description for a link as well. So that is what we're going to be doing today. There are products out there that can make this go a little bit faster, but we're going to assume that we don't have those fancy products, and we're just going to use our white and our black that we have available. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my 3/4 inch flat brush, and I'm going to load it up with some white. It's already damp, but I'm going to use my mister bottle. I have a mister bottle here as well. I think I forgot to say that, but I have a mister bottle, cheap mister bottle that you can get at your local big box store. I recommend grabbing a couple of those. They break, you get what you pay for. They're only a couple cents usually, so grab a couple of those. The other thing that I'll be using today is some disposable lipstick applicators, but you can use Q-tips as well. Q-tips are always a great thing to have in your kit anyway, so we'll be using that as an eraser. All right, so I have my white loaded, and then what I'm going to do with the black is I'm just going to go ahead and load it just the corner of my brush on both sides. I'm going to flip it over, I get this corner, and then flip it over and get the other side of the corner, so that you end up with, you know, something. I know that white is just blowing out, but you end up with something like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have the white on the bottom. And sharks are kind of, the shark that I do, it kind of, you go up and you kind of have a pointy nose, and then you go down and around and to a point. Okay, and so then I can use the white part of my brush to kind of fix that error. And then to make the dorsal fin, I'm going to kind of angle my brush something like this and get a fin in there. And if you need to go back over your shark to hide the fin a little bit, you can just kind of go back over it and do something like that. So finally, to get the fins down here, the tail fins, you just kind of flick and flick. And then I also do one of these side fins. I don't know the anatomy of a shark, you guys, but I'll just do like a little fin here and call that about done. So this fin up here always is probably a little too close to the head. This one over here is in a little bit of a better position. I don't know if I can zoom in, but this one over here is in a little bit better position, and it really just depends on how much real estate you have on the forehead and on this side of the face. So you're not going to get it perfect every time, and that's okay. The kids will be pretty forgiving, I promise. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we need to do some erasing. So I'm going to take 2 of these. I'm going to wet one of them and then kind of blot it off on a towel. And then I'm going to use it to basically just erase part of the design so that I get kind of a mouth. Also, while I'm here, I'm just going to fix this line a little bit. Okay, and then if you needed the dry one, you could just come back in here with the dry one. Okay, so it's already looking like a shark. We got like an open mouth, and we just need to do some outlining. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and grab my number 3 brush. And if you have trouble with the white and the black at first, because it is a little bit tricky, and you definitely don't want to go into your white pot. You don't want to go back into your white pot with your black paint or the paintbrush. So you kind of got to work fast. But if you have trouble with that, you can certainly do like a light blue and a dark blue shark instead of white and black to make the gray. And if you've seen my dolphin tutorial, I make the fin on the shark a little bit pointier, a little bit meaner, a little bit pointier, and don't give it like sort of that little curve. So at this point, we're just going and doing our line work. Now, when you do line work and outlining and stuff like that, if you keep your brush perpendicular to the work surface, you are going to have much better control over what it does. Okay. Okay, so that looks about good. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to rinse this brush out real quick. We're going to go ahead and give him an eye right away so that that has a little bit of time to dry before we put the big old pupil on it. So I'm grabbing my number 4, a little bit bigger. I was just using my number 3, now I'm going to use my number 4. And I'm looking for a creamy consistency. So here we go. I'm just going to literally put a big dot on here, just like that. While I'm here, I might as well give them a little highlight on the fin and the back there. And I think that's it for that. And then what we'll do is we'll create some of these splashes. So we're just going to do long teardrops, lay our brush down, slowly drag it and lift up as you pull it back to bring it to a point. So this one's set farther back, and then we'll do another one. And so on and so forth. So we'll do that, and then we'll go ahead and add a couple on the bottom. So let's say we go like that, and that, and that, and that. My paint is a little bit dry, but it still works, so we're gonna go with that. Okay, so for the, what are we gonna do? I think we're gonna do the pupil next. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my brush out. Oh, we gotta do the teeth. So normally I would be able to use the same number 4 brush while I had it loaded with white and go ahead and do the teeth. But this particular brush I'm using is well loved. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch back to my number 3. Excuse me. I'm gonna switch back to my number 3. You wouldn't have to do this necessarily if your brushes were new. And I do have a new set of brushes that I use for other stuff, but in my advanced tutorials. But for this, I wanted to be able to show you guys what you could do with this brush set. So anyway, just do a series of little teardrops here to make the teeth. And I think I'm zoomed in as far as I can go, but yeah, there you go. You can make some teeth. And then I think what really makes a shark is that big black pupil that it has. So that's what we're going to do next. Just going to switch back to my number 4. That's a little bit more switching than I would normally do, but like I said, I have some brushes that are well loved here. I do love this Paint Pal brush collection. It's great. Okay, so I think the white has had a little bit of time to dry, and essentially what we want to do is we just want to dab on a big old black pupil just like that. And then if you have time from here, you can go ahead and add on some blood if the parents are okay with it. I usually ask if they're around. If they're not around, I just go ahead and do it and just don't get too crazy with it. Most parents are cool with it. Some parents get a little crazy with it. So I'll just come in here and then just kind of make some dots here and there. Just to put a little element of fun in there. So there you have it. There's a shark tutorial. It's probably going to look different every time you do it. You can see here the one that I did earlier. I got a little bit more black loaded onto my brush than the white. I like this one better, so I would aim to do that probably a little bit more. If you make the mouth a little wider like I did here, the teeth will show up better. The teeth are not showing up as good here just because I have that white so thick on the bottom there. But it is what it is, and if this was on the job, it would just go like that, and I guarantee you the kids would be okay with it. So I try not to be too hard on myself when I do these fast designs. So I hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, if you have a desire to build your own kit, you can head over to rayfaceart.com/learn and pick up this How to Build Your First Face Painting Starter Kit. It's a really good guide and gives you some product recommendations, where to buy them and stuff like that. And then otherwise you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at rayfaceart. And I do have a Facebook group as well if you want to talk a little bit more about the marketing and business aspects of face painting. So you're welcome to join us over there as well. All right, guys, take care.